Hello and welcome to my series of videos on logic. Logic is about statements, and a statement is something that must be either true or false. At least in simple traditional logic, every statement is either true or false. There's no other possibilities and there's nothing in between, and that's sometimes called the law of the excluded middle. If you know something is not true, it must be false. If it's not false, it must be true. Now, there are other logic systems that allow for other possibilities. They're so-called three-valued logic, where a statement could be true or false or some other possibility, something in between. There's so-called fuzzy logic, where you have statements that are absolutely true or absolutely false or somewhere in between. Somewhere on a continuum between completely true and completely false. But we're going to be focusing on basic traditional two-valued or binary or Boolean logic, where every statement has one of two values. It's either true or it's false. So here are some examples of statements. Today is Saturday. Now, depending on when you're watching this video, that might be a true statement right now, or it might be a false statement, but it's one or the other. London is the capital of England. That happens to be a true statement, but it is a statement. The USA has 50 states. All pencils are yellow. By the way, that's not true. It's a false statement, but it is a statement. All sparrows are birds. 2 plus 4 equals 6. 2 plus x equals 6. Now, whether that's true or false depends on the value of x. If x stands for 4, it's a true statement. If x stood for 17, it would be false. But it's always got to be one or the other. Lizards can talk. That's a statement. As far as I know, it's a false statement, but it's a statement. But here are some examples of things that are not statements. Commands or requests or things like that are not statements, like shut the door or clean your room or stop kicking your sister. Questions are not statements, like what's your middle name? Or do you smell something burning? Or is your room clean? And the sentence, this sentence is false, is not a statement because it's neither true nor false. It can't be true because what it says is that it's false. So if it's true, it's false. But it can't be false because then what it said would not be true. But if it is false, then it can't. If what it says is true, then it can't be false. So it's messed up either way. It's a paradox, a self-contradiction. Now, some statements are just simple statements, and then you can combine or manipulate or modify simple statements to get compound statements. And one way you can do that is negation. The negation of a statement is what's true if that statement is not true. It's the logical opposite of a statement. So if the original statement is true, its negation would be false. And if the original statement is false, its negation would have to be true. One way to get the negation of a statement is by sticking the words, "it is not the case that," in front of that statement. Or, "it is false that," in front of that statement. That can sound a little artificial and unnatural, but it gives you the logical opposite of the original statement. So, for example, if you start with the statement, today is Saturday, the negation of that, the not of that statement, could be worded, it is not the case that today is Saturday, or it is false that today is Saturday, or today is not Saturday would probably be the most natural way of saying it. Or you could say, today is Saturday, not, and be all sarcastic about it. So any one of those would be the negation of the statement, today is Saturday. if you happen to be watching this on a Saturday, any one of these negations would be false. If you happen to be watching this on a Tuesday, then today is Saturday would be a false statement, but any one of these negations would be true. So here are some other examples of negations. London is the capital of England. The negation would be London is not the capital of England. And it's got to be one or the other. Now, it happens to be true that London is the capital of England, so it's false that London is not the capital of England. But even if you knew nothing at all about London or England, logically you'd have to know that one or the other of those has to be true, and then whichever one is true, the other one is false. Now, if you say Tokyo is the capital of England, the negation of that, what you'd say if you think that's not true, would be Tokyo is not the capital of England. For the statement, the USA has 50 states, the negation, what you'd say if you think that's not true, would be the USA does not have 50 states. And it's got to be one or the other. Right now, the USA does have 50 states, but if somehow we added another state, then it would be true that the USA does not have 50 states. 2 plus 4 equals 6. The negation would be 2 plus 4 does not equal 6. Lizards can talk. The negation would be lizards cannot talk. All pencils are yellow. The negation would be not all pencils are yellow. And another way to word that would be some pencils are not yellow. That's logically equivalent. So either all pencils are yellow, or there are at least some of them that aren't. Now be careful. You might have been tempted to say that the negation for all pencils are yellow would be all pencils are not yellow. But that's kind of ambiguous. If you mean, well, all pencils are not yellow, but some of them might be, then yeah, that would be the logical opposite. But if you mean all pencils, every single pencil in the whole world is not yellow, that's not really the negation. Then you'd be saying no pencils are yellow. But that's not something that's the logical opposite of all pencils are yellow. If all pencils are yellow, that just means they're all yellow. But if that's false, it still might be true that some pencils are yellow and some aren't. It just means that they're not all yellow. But it doesn't mean that every single one of them isn't. So the negation of a statement like all are or all do would be some are not or some do not. So when it comes to these kinds of statements, the negation of an all statement, all of something are something, or all of something do something, would be that some do not, or not all of them do. And vice versa, the negation of some do not would be all do. The negation of a statement that says that some are or some do would be a statement that none of them do. That is, all of them do not. Now, how many is some? Well, in ordinary language, that can be ambiguous. Can depend on the context or who's talking. If I say some, do I mean 3 or more? Do I mean just one? Do I mean a whole bunch? Well, logically, some means at least one. If I say that some pencils are yellow, logically what I'm saying is that there is at least one, not of them, but at least one pencil that is yellow. So logically, when we say some such and such are such and such, we mean there's at least one that is. We're not saying how many, maybe just one, maybe all of them, maybe 17 of them, but some of them means there is at least one that is. And that's the opposite of there aren't any none of them are or none of them do. So the negation of none do would be that some do. So let's practice this sort of thing with some more examples of negations. What's the negation of the statement, Taylor ate the last piece of pizza? Okay, so this one should be pretty simple. It should just be, Taylor did not eat the last piece of pizza. So if I said, Taylor ate the last piece of pizza, and you think I'm wrong, that that was a false statement, you would say, no, Taylor did not eat the last piece of pizza. What's the negation of Taylor did not eat the last piece of pizza? Well, that would be, Taylor did eat the last piece of pizza, or just Taylor ate the last piece of pizza. So it's got to be one or the other. Either Taylor did or Taylor did not. And whichever one of those is true, the other one is false, and vice versa. What's the negation of some people like ketchup on ice cream? Remember, the negation of some do would be none do. So this would be, no people like ketchup on ice cream. So if I say, hey, some people like ketchup on ice cream, and you think that's false, you would say, no, no people like ketchup on ice cream. What's the negation of all birds can fly? What would you say that's true if you think that's a false statement? Well, that would be, some birds cannot fly. Remember, the negation of all do would be, some do not. What's the negation of no athletes wear glasses? Well, that would be, some athletes wear glasses. So if I say, no athletes wear glasses, and you think I'm wrong, that that's a false statement, you would say, no, you're wrong. Some athletes wear glasses. Maybe not all of them, but some of them, at least one of them. What's the negation of some fish cannot swim? Well, that would be, all fish can swim. So if I say, there's some fish that cannot swim, and you think that's wrong, you think that's false, then you would say the negation of that statement is what's true. And that would be that all fish can swim. In the next video, I plan to talk about some other ways of combining statements using words like and or.